Does it get equated to actually public service broadcasting? Do you have to justify that money from the government and say, for that money, we have given you this, which we wouldn't have done if we were just a commercial operation?
We have a licence, absolutely. Yes. We have a licence to operate. And, of course, we have the Manx Radio Trust, which monitors our performance, for which I hasten to add, a lot of misconceptions flying around. The Manx Radio Trust meets with us every quarter, and they fire off a lot of sometimes difficult questions, which sometimes we can answer. But they are paid nothing to function. Some people are questioning why there should be so many of them. Well, it doesn't cost government anything at all. And the Manx Radio Trust was set up by Tynwald. We are here to do what Tynwald instructs us to do. And in 2006, the Darwin report, on which they spent well into six figures on their report, and let's hope we don't have to have another report because it would be a waste of money. In that 2006 report, our subvention was agreed by Tynwald. It's not agreed by us. It's agreed by Tynwald, who is the representative of the people, and they decided by, I think, a unanimous vote that we should have a subvention and it would rise by the inflation figure or RPI, whatever it was.
All those days are gone. I mean,
no, hang on. No, this is 2006.
Yes, but
wait a minute.
Cutbacks?
Wait a minute. We were given a 5-year run. Okay. And it would have been then 1.1, 1.2 million. It is now 850,000 this next year. And I agree with you. There's austerity. We've been cutting back for the last 3 years.
But, I mean, we're sitting in a brand new studio complex. There must be money somewhere for this. This hasn't come from subvention. This has come from the Treasury.
This came out of, and that's a very good, I'm glad you mentioned that because I'd like to just bring that in. We had these studios, some were up to 35 years old. The building has been rewired. These studios all include rewiring and safety issues. A massive amount of safety. I think the studios themselves, I think, has cost around about, or will have cost when they're finished, about 300,000.
And that was extra money on top of your subvention, was it?
Oh yes, because Radio Manx Limited receives, unlike I think almost any other company that I can think of in business, receives no capital funding. It has to come through Tynwald as a special in the budget, because we don't get anything for capital. Now, if you were running a company, well, which you have done, how do you provide for the capital? Where do you get it from? You have to provide it. We don't have anywhere to get it.
Okay, but what we're doing was...
Other than from commercial. But let me finish off on the studios, first of all. The studios we were operating from, if anything broke, which it did from time to time, the parts were obsolete. We couldn't even get the parts. They were having our engineering department here were amazing what they've had to produce to keep Manx Radio running. That's why we've had new studios.
But the transmitters get paid for. You know all the stories you keep hearing everywhere that you don't have to pay for the transmitters or your electricity bill or the rent on the building.
Correct.
You've got a good number.
Well, because we own the building. That's why we don't pay a rent.
What, Radio Manx or the government?
Radio Manx Limited owns the building.
It's probably worth quite a lot of money if it's on the open market. Probably.
About £1 million.
I mean, this is another thing. I mean, radio could be run from someone's house almost these days in the sense of...
But we've done that exercise. Yeah. It would cost more to actually move the station and provide it with what we've got in very basic terms. We could do that, but it would cost more than staying here and refurbishing. We did that exercise 5 years ago. But what you don't say, Paul, and you should, of course, that if you want to run a music station, which we could become tomorrow, what have you got to do? A couple of rooms, tape it, put it on, live broadcasting, little bit. And what does it cost? Next to nothing. If you want a newsroom, which we have, and you know all about it, you've worked here, so you know the station, this is not a music-only station. Actually, it's a unique situation. You know, when you think of that we're sort of number 2 within the British Isles as far as reception goes by the
behind a station in the Channel Islands. It's a music station.
Yes, well, that's yes, but
a music-based station.
That's 59%.
Opposite the BBC, who have got their own speech.
We are 58%. Yes.
Yeah. But they're doing it on a music-based format there. So, I mean.
Yes. Well, they do have news.
Sure.
They do have news, but again, comparing like with like, it's very difficult. But we are, and I'm very proud of the fact that Manx Radio is owned in the Isle of Man, and it is a unique asset of government. It is part of the community. And woe betide, we are attacked all the time by politicians. We're just, as I've said recently, we're a political football, really. And we are attacked all the time. But woe betide if the public think that there are other issues that are not being borne in mind when you're debating in Tynwald. Any politician who wants to get up and denigrate what Manx Radio does for the public on the Isle of Man, I would, in my opinion, and I may be wrong, they would get short shrift from their electors. All right, there are a lot of people on the radio, in the Isle of Man, don't listen to Manx Radio. We don't expect everybody to listen to Manx Radio. But it is part of our community, and we would be a great loss without it.